Welcome to the Meditation Podcast. You can find all our episodes on meditationpodcast.org. We're also on BitChute and YouTube. You'll find the links in the podcast description. I'm also a podcasting coach because I've got 5 other podcasts with 4 in the top 5%. And you can find everything on roycon.com. Today, my guest was from South Africa, but in Israel. Please welcome Samantha Amit.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Roy. Thanks for having me here today.
Delighted to have you. So you might let the listeners know who's Samantha.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure where to start, but seeing that this is a meditation podcast, maybe I'll go back a bit and tell you how I came to meditation, because who I am is really a lot around that. So does that work for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I suppose identity-wise, I consider myself, I'm married with 3 kids today. But many years ago, I was married, living in a foreign country with 2 kids, young 2 kids, a career in leadership in a software development company. And I was the superwoman, working, managing people. Then we were already actually working in a global environment. I worked for a big company. And I used to come home at night exhausted with this much patience. And I found myself from the superwoman to be, like a terrible mom. And my husband used to walk in the door from also from a high-tech company, and I pounced on him like, take the kids, and bath time was just another chore for me. And truthfully, I hated myself. And the turning point came when I went to South Africa on holiday, and there, the washing was done for me, my mother cooked for me, and the kids were happy on holiday. And I became this different mom. And I thought, why can't I be that kind of mom also and work? So that's how I came to meditation. So today I am a mindfulness practitioner, and I bring mindfulness and meditation into my life every day to the people that I work with. So I'm a leadership and team coach and mindfulness practitioner. And it all started when I just hated myself, and I knew I had to find a better way of being in the world. And so that's what I do. I help companies thrive. I help leaders in companies really be connected to whatever's important for them so that they can thrive today, and not only at work, but also in life.
Yeah. Beautiful. I think it's a lovely journey, because lots of times people realize, I'm coming home, energy is gone, and the slightest thing triggers me. And there's a load of people like that. And I think you have to look within to kind of overcome that. But just curious, what kind of meditations did you go through? All different types before you found one that kind of suited you?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So, with COVID now, everything's opened up to learning meditation online. But then meditation was very much about actually learning with a teacher and going to retreats. So the problem that I had was that I was a career woman. So I was a female leader working in a high-tech company, a global company with thousands of employees. And to be honest, I didn't have time to go away on retreats. I was traveling. So what I did was I dabbled with different things. So I used to do small workshops. I looked up, I used to get audio CDs at the time. I did short courses. So I tried different things. And that's my approach also today in life, is I try different things for different people to see what they connect with. So I couldn't meditate in the beginning. I couldn't do more than just a few minutes. And so that's my thing today, to start with 5 minutes. And so sometimes I build up a habit of working, meditating for 30 minutes is my practice. But often I fall off. And so I start again with 5 minutes, sometimes even 1 minute. And so my approach is you find what works for you. So whatever I tried, I'm a mindfulness-based stress reduction practitioner. So there's mindful walking, there's the body scan, there's silent sitting, which is Vipassana. And so I do a lot of all of that. And my big passion is for actually informal practice, which is, do you know what informal practice is?
No.
So there's formal practice, which is sometimes called contemplative practice, where you'll do, let's say, mindful sitting or sitting meditation or breath work. And that's a formal practice. And then informal practice is like, for example, let's say we're speaking now, okay? So it's an informal practice. How present am I in the moment now with you? So there are lots of things I can notice. So when I'm with my clients, I notice their body language, I notice their tone. I'm like really listening for many, many different things. That's an informal practice. And then also I am noticing what's going on within me. So how much am I listening and how much are my thoughts wandering if you're doing the talking, let's say, for example. So now you're listening to me, right? Where's your mind right now? Are you thinking, oh, when is she going to stop?
No, I'm fully present, and like a thought will come into my head of a question, but I don't keep thinking of the question. I'm just fully present in what you're saying. But I know that some people, they can't do that. That they're not there. They've switched off and they're just kind of waiting to go in with their question. And
exactly. So, for example, the leaders that I work with, let's say they're in a meeting. They're often thinking, as you say, of what's the next question they should be asking. So they're not fully present. Or, how can I contribute? How can I contribute? So an informal practice could be for them to sit in the meeting and just notice where their mind is. Notice where their mind is. And then I ask them to journal a little bit around that. So when they do the journaling, the writing, then they will be able to afterwards read and see if there's a pattern. Is that pattern coming up every time they're in a meeting? And so every time they're in conversation, they can write for a few minutes around what their thinking's like, what emotions present, and what's going on in their body. And that way they start learning about themselves, and it's fascinating. So we create these exercises. I help leaders create the exercises that work for them, and I call it informal practice. Because not everybody wants to sit. It's the hardest thing to do, actually, sitting in silence. Because then you meet yourself, right? You meet your demons, you meet the good side, but you often meet the things you don't want to see.
The problem, I think, especially the last kind of 5 to 10 years is with technology, because even people going previously on a bus trip, they're looking out the window. That's a form of meditation. Now people, and same in the office, especially high level, they're glued to their phones. So they don't go into their head. They're just constantly looking for something. And I think they're missing out a lot by doing that.
Yeah. So that's a whole side that I'm fascinated around. I call it like productivity, and this attention, that our attention is jumping around all the time. And there's so much research that's been done on that we cannot anymore hold our attention because the phone has made us jump around, the fear of missing out, checking our messages, checking our emails. And so it's very hard to focus today.
Absolutely. And like you've mentioned, you've 3 children, and I'm just curious, are you actually trying to get them interested in this, or are you just leaving them have their own journey?
Oh, right. So today I have 3 kids. The first 2, wow, I don't know how they handled having a mom like me, but that's where mindfulness actually saved me, and meditation really saved me from myself. My journey is less around trying to change my kids. It's more around me being a better mom, me being a better leader, me being a better coach, so that I can, bring that energy into whoever I'm with. and help them. So I'm less about changing others and more inviting them into, the space that I'm in. And then I think the magic happens. Yeah.
So I know that with the clients, I don't know, I presume, because I read that you've said in 25 different countries that you've had clients. And was that always online, or were you actually at times in the country dealing with the different clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I love to travel, and a lot of my work is actually, on Zoom, on Teams, whatever the client's using. And so even before the pandemic, I was always, meeting clients either in a group format or one-on-one, but often online, not in person. So I'm used to working,
And did you notice any trends? Like, I know everyone's an individual, but with nationalities, did you notice with the clients from certain countries that there was a certain trend?
Yeah, there are absolutely differences between countries. Yeah, there's a lot. This is another subject on itself. It fascinates me. And I think that my meditation practice and the mindfulness helps me to relate very easily, much more easily, let's say, to the differences, because there are differences. Yeah.
Because I see the qualifications you trained. Is it Bangor? Is that in Wales? Is it the Bangor in Wales?
So are you familiar with John Kabat-Zinn and the MBSR course that he has, Mindfulness-based stress reduction?
No.
Yeah. So because I'm naturally a doer, and so sitting in meditation and doing nothing, like just sitting, was like foreign to me. And because I'm such a doer and my value of doing is so high that I get stressed out if I'm doing nothing. And because I'm a high achiever and I like to do so much, I also suffer from stress. So I'm a type A personality. I suffer from stress. So many years ago, I studied mindfulness-based stress reduction. And that's a course that's been in many countries all over the world. If you Google MBSR, there's in almost every country, there are courses. And that course originally was developed by John Kabat-Zinn. And the course is taught originally at Massachusetts University in the United States. And in Europe, it's taught at Bangor University. So that's the original. So I was actually trained as a practitioner through Bangor University together with IDC in Israel. One of the practitioners, she came out here to Israel, and we did a retreat here, and we were trained here. It's called TTR1, Teachers Training 1.
Because I know a lot of people that are working for corporations. I mean, I've worked for myself since I moved to Poland 15 years ago, and even from a young age, I was always kind of entrepreneurial. But what I've noticed is a lot of people that work for corporations, they're not really happy. They're all stressed. There's very few that are just chilled out. And I suppose maybe what kind of advice that you could have, just talk to them, kind of get a bit mindful that I can forward this on to them and kind of help them out a bit.
Yeah. So are you interested in doing a practice now, like right here, right now?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the practices that everybody that meets me knows, and it's part of, I've also I'm developing a course now called Conscious Leadership with a company called Co-Creation. And I have a digital online course as well called Mindful Leadership. And I can send you a link for that as well. There's also a free mini course of that as well. So in the course, there is what I call a check-in. So every day to start with a check-in, which is like a little pause. And so to just take you what that does, mindfulness is a form of meditation which you drop into the present moment when you're practicing formally. And if we're looking at our internal experience, because you can also be in the present moment, both internally and also externally. So internally, I can watch my thoughts, I can look at my feelings, and I can scan my body and see what's going on in my body, because all of this will give me an indication of my internal experience. And then if I want to look at what my external experience is, it's also like bringing you in what's going on in the room. And that's very helpful in leadership. So one of the things that I, work a lot with every leader that works with me, or every group or every team, is what I call a check-in or a pause, where we drop into the moment and we do that, which we can practice now, and I can just guide you through it. And then I have let's say I co-create with them an exercise that they can do, for example, in the morning, or they can do it before meeting, and just to check in with what's going on with them right now. So, so maybe we can let's just practice now. So I was sitting with my legs up, but I'm going to actually put my feet on the floor. And so this is what I do with my clients. Okay, so I invite them to sit upright. So of course, if anybody's driving and listening to this podcast right now, just continue driving, focus on what you're focusing on. And of course, don't listen to the exact instructions, because I'm going to invite you to sit upright in your chair or wherever you are. If you're lying down, that's also absolutely fine. Again, drivers, just concentrate on the road. And so to just sit upright, but not too stiff, and to make sure that your neck is, also upright, but and your chin is leveled, but not too down and not too stiff. So just sitting comfortably, and you can even lift your shoulders and drop them down exactly. And put your feet on the ground, maybe just feeling into the ground, and just coming to notice your breath, breathing in and breathing out. If you want, you can actually close your eyes, but you don't have to. Whatever comfortable for you. And just noticing your breathing. No need to change anything. That's what's really wonderful about mindfulness. Just we know how to breathe, just breathing in and breathing out. And notice what the breath's like right now. And what I often say to leaders is just ask yourself, what's the weather like inside right now? So just going in. What's the landscape? What's the weather report right now within? And whatever you're noticing, almost as if you're watching a movie, just notice it. And if there is any judgment at all, just notice that too. See if you can put that aside and be gentle with yourself. Inviting curiosity in. Maybe you're noticing an emotion or emotions that are present right now. Just noticing them. Maybe coming back to the breath. Perhaps being aware of any sensations that are present in the body as you scan your body from head to foot. And again, coming back to the breath, just breathing in and breathing out. No need to change anything. Now I'm going to invite you to just notice if there are any thoughts present. And if you've noticed that your mind has wandered, which it tends to do from time to time, then just gently bringing it back to my voice now and noticing if there are any thoughts present. And letting go of those thoughts and just again coming back to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And as we come to the end of this short check-in, I'm going to also invite you to just perhaps thank yourself for taking these few minutes to look within. How am I right now? This really is a time for healing. It's a time for introspection, getting to know ourselves. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. Come back.
Very nice.
So how was that for you, Roy?
That was lovely. Yeah.
So maybe I'll just add that sometimes it's lovely and sometimes it isn't. And that's also okay, because that's exactly what we want to meet ourselves wherever we are. And just notice what's going on. And it's an opportunity to say, okay, what now? You know, I have also this, you know, the acronym STOP, S-T-O-P.
There's so many, I don't know.
Yeah, so I use that a lot also with leaders in organizations because it's easy to remember. So STOP stands for to stop and be still. The S is for still. T is for take a few breaths. It always helps because whenever we breathe, we also activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps calm us down. And then O is for options. What are my options? And then P is how will I proceed? Because we always have a choice. And so when we stop and we take notice of what's going on, we can always have options, and there are always a number of options. And then we can choose how we want to proceed in the next moment. Yeah.
So I know you're an author as well. Is the book around the same kind of thing?
Yeah, so the book that I co-authored together with Dr. Jonathan or Professor Jonathan Passmore, we wrote that book in 2017. And a huge part of the book is around helping leaders to be more mindful at work. And it's based on a model that I created called Mindful ACT. And the ACT also stands for the acronym ACT. And ACT is around you have to actually do something. It's an act to be mindful. To meditate is an act. It's something that's so not passive. It's something that is actually so active. That's where the acronym ACT comes from. And so the book's based on that model of ACT, how I can achieve more, how I can connect better, and how we can thrive as an organization. Yeah.
And I know you've got a blog as well. Did the blog kind of turn into chapters for the book?
So no, the chapters for the book came about through the model. Yeah, I worked together with Jonathan. It's actually an interesting story of how we met. Yeah, so he basically challenged me to write the book because at the time I was doing quite a few mindful leader workshops within organizations, both online and also in person. I worked also with a few of the embassies in Israel. So those were in person. I've worked with the Swedish, with the Norwegians, for example, and I've done workshops with them. And with the American embassy as well. And so he said to me, we were sitting opposite the American embassy on the beach. Jonathan had just come for a coaching. He was a keynote speaker, and he just come to Israel to speak at one of our coaching conferences. And he said to me, well, you're so passionate about mindfulness. Why don't you write a book? And I said to him, are you crazy? There's no ways I can write a book. So he basically challenged me, and I'm always up for a challenge. And so I said to him, Jonathan, if you co-author the book with me, then maybe, just maybe, I'll write it. And so basically he mentored me the whole way through the book. And the book is on this model that I've been working with in organizations for now, it's actually more than a decade. It's more like 15 years. With this model of achieve, connect, and thrive. And so we put together a skeleton of the book, of the chapters that we thought would be most relevant. And as you said, a lot of it is about helping people, also leaders and everybody today, just be more connected to what's important to them. And and he, being a professor, he put together all the research parts of the book. So that's how it came about. Yeah.
And just kind of finally on the coaching side of things, because obviously you would do one-on-ones as well, but when you're doing a team and it's on, say, Zoom, like what kind of, I suppose, tricks to make sure that you're engaging with everybody, because that can be difficult in itself when there's more than one.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we'd often do an exercise also, like a grounding exercise in the beginning, similar to something like we've done together, but maybe a bit shorter. A grounding exercise could also be something related to somatic work, grounding in the body. I'm just spending a bit more time feeling the body. And then how I work with a team is I always work with a co-coach, so a co-team coach. So one of us is more, let's say, watching the front of the room. Some of us is watching the back of the room, and that's just metaphorically. We have listen in different ways. And it's still like there won't be more than, I would say, 8 people in the team. That's ideally to have around 8 people plus the 2 coaches. And then sometimes we do break out into rooms to give people more of a chance to speak. And just watching, it's very much about watching the dynamics of what goes on in the room. So let's say somebody speaks a lot. You can be sure that that person that speaks a lot also in meetings. So I would say something like, is this how you usually are? And is this how you want to be? So if the team wants to create more inclusion and they want to create more of a voice for everybody, so how does that look like? And so you co-align that together, you co-create that together.
Okay, excellent. So I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. She might let people know how can they find Samantha?
Yeah, so I'm on all the social media. Also, so Samantha Amit, just Google Samantha Amit, you'll find me on all the social media. My website is askyourcoach.com with hyphens in the middle. So ASK minus askyourcoach.com. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make sure I put all the links in all the social media channels, both the audio and the video. Thank you very much, Samantha.
Thank you so much, Roy, for inviting me.
Well, so that's all for the Making podcast, or the meditation podcast. Sorry, I have so many podcasts I get muddled up. And be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. That really helps. Until next week, take care.